Relentless rainfall has unleashed a devastating wave of floods across Sichuan province in China. What began as heavy seasonal storms quickly turned into a regional disaster, overwhelming rivers and submerging entire towns. In cities like Chengdu and mountainous regions such as Danba County, the situation has grown increasingly dire. Streets have transformed into rushing rivers, sweeping through residential zones and commercial districts alike. Thousands of homes have been inundated, with floodwaters breaching lower floors and trapping families inside. Parked cars were seen floating down roads, and public buses were left stranded mid-route, completely engulfed by rising waters that eye in many neighborhoods. Traditional roads became impassable. Rescue boats replaced vehicles as the only viable mode of transportation. Emergency crews have been working around the clock to reach isolated communities, often battling strong currents and unstable terrain. What makes this flooding particularly destructive is the speed and scale of the disaster. In just a few hours, entire towns found themselves cut off from the outside world. Phone lines went dead, roads vanished underwater. Lives were upended in an instant. This isn't just localized damage. It's a province-wide crisis affecting millions. And while the rain may eventually stop, the consequences of these floods are just beginning to unfold. Streets turned to rivers as stormwater rushed through residential zones. Thousands of homes saw water breach their lower floors, while parked cars floated and buses were left stranded mid-road. Rescue boats became the only way out.
水岛出水岛那个沟，里面还有人。
Flooding in Sichuan didn't just impact homes and streets. It tore through the province's infrastructure, leaving widespread devastation in its wake. Landslides triggered by waterlogged hillsides crashed down into roads, blocking major highways and cutting off critical access routes. In the mountains and valleys alike, mud and debris buried entire stretches of road, making emergency response difficult and dangerous. Bridges collapsed under the pressure of surging rivers. Small tunnels were filled with floodwater, rendering them useless. Dozens of communities found themselves completely isolated within hours, stranded without power, food supplies, or medical AID.in cities like Yen. The urban infrastructure failed to hold. Sewer systems backed up and overflowed, forcing storm water into basements, back alleys, and local businesses. Entire districts saw water rising through marketplaces, schools, and apartment blocks. Overwhelming the systems designed to protect them. In some towns, drainage networks collapsed entirely, causing water to gush uncontrollably through densely populated areas. The sudden collapse of these critical systems didn't just cause structural damage. It shattered routines, disrupted services, and left residents with nowhere to turn. The scale of destruction highlights a grim reality. Much of Sichuan's infrastructure wasn't built to withstand this level of extreme weather. With aging flood defenses and under-resourced drainage systems, the region's cities and towns are dangerously vulnerable to events like this. Roads must be rebuilt, transit systems repaired, and confidence in public safety slowly restored. As floodwaters surged across Sichuan, they didn't just drown homes and streets. They devastated the backbone of the region's economy. Agriculture and industry in rural zones. Rice fields vanished under thick, muddy water. Entire crops were flattened, irrigation channels burst, and the land itself was transformed. Once fertile soil is now buried under layers of silt and debris. Leaving farmers with a daunting task, digging out, clearing the sludge, and starting again from scratch. The damage isn't just physical, it's economic. For many farming families, this harvest was their lifeline. Now, with their fields destroyed and equipment damaged, their future is uncertain. Rebuilding the land will take not just time, but significant financial support in industrial zones. The picture is just as grim. Factories were forced to shut down, warehouses flooded, machines rusted, and supply chains came to a halt. What was once a steady flow of goods and labor has now been silenced by water and mud. Shipment containers sit idle. Production lines are frozen. Thousands of workers have been displaced, unsure when or if they'll return to their jobs. These floods weren't just a natural disaster. They were a direct hit to Sichuan's agricultural and industrial core, and the long-term recovery could take months, if not years. As the floods swept through Sichuan, essential utilities buckled under the pressure, plunging entire regions into darkness and silence. Power stations located in low-lying areas were among the first to go, submerged by rising water and forced offline. The result was widespread blackout. communication towers toppled or lost power, cutting off mobile service and internet access. For many, that meant no contact with loved ones, no way to call for help, and no updates on changing conditions that are in just a matter of hours. The systems people depend on every day, power, water, and communication, were gone. Restoring them isn't just a matter of convenience. It's a race against time to protect health, safety, and stability. AS rescue teams work tirelessly to assess and repair the damage. One thing is clear: rebuilding these lifelines will be one of the most urgent and complex challenges of the recovery ahead. With emergency shelters set up almost overnight, sandbags were stacked along riverbanks, and dams began releasing water in controlled bursts to reduce pressure and prevent catastrophic failure downstream. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay informed about the latest developments.